And you did cite to female genital mutilation. You are aware that FGM is typically practiced, well, not exclusively, but it is more so practiced in Muslim majority countries than in Western Christian countries?
Yes.
Okay.
So again, that doesn't mean I agree with that practice. I think everyone, for example, if we're citing the KKK claim to be Christian nationalists and they still kill black people. Okay. So what I'm saying here is people take faiths and they become extreme. They can take an iteration of faith and take it way too far. But that is when I'm speaking for, in my personal life, I practice religion, that does not mean that I stand for a lot of the ways that it has been corrupted and a lot of social things that it imposes on women.
Well, hold on, but you really quick, you invoked the KKK here when we're talking about like the Islamic influence in Muslim majority countries. So wait, hold on. I think that's a bit of a false equivalence to say that, first off, the KKK has no political capital at all in this country. And it's a false equivalence because the Taliban has robust political power in Afghanistan, and that's not like...
So yeah, but there was a time that the KKK had robust influence here in the U.S., right?
Not necessarily.
I mean, I would agree. So I would agree historically the KKK was bigger, had more influence, perhaps, 50s, 60s, 70s, but not anywhere near approaching the level of influence and power that like the Taliban has in Afghanistan.
Okay, and I agree that the Taliban and its practices are incorrect. But what I was pointing to with the KKK example is that a lot of time religion can be taken and manipulated. And so I'm saying in that specific instance, do I think that is a perfect iteration of what Islam should look like? Absolutely not. But am I here to defend Islam? No, I'm here to protect women's rights. And I think a lot of the times religion can be great and it's a great thing to practice and keep in your life. Do I think it should bleed into politics and how we practice certain things and how women are treated? No, because it can always be co-opted.
Well, I guess just because you invoked to the conversation about religion and you seem to have shifted blame towards Christianity, I was simply just pointing out you yourself are a Muslim where... I mean, I think it would just be, it's objectively the case that, at least as it relates to the religion, it seems far more oppressive to women's freedoms than Christianity. And then if you look at the fruits of Christianity, you look at Western countries that either are Christian or have a Christian heritage, Christian history, you can compare them to Muslim countries, Islamic countries. They're far more rife with lacking in rights for women.
I mean, to be honest, I disagree in the sense that I think a lot of the times there's a few things I want to say here, right? I don't want to have a theological argument with you, but I think if we're looking into the specific texts when it comes to the Quran versus the Bible, the Quran is less oppressive to women, especially at the specific time that it came down.
I think it is a matter of interpretation when it does come down to that. I think that your overgeneralization of the Bible itself is harmful.
I don't necessarily think it's an overgeneralization. I'm just saying if we look at the texts themselves, right? So I've studied both the Bible and I've studied the Quran and I've looked at both of those texts. And by looking at the text, I can tell you that the Bible is more oppressive towards women, especially at the time that it came down and the practices that were imposed on the women that were there, okay?
I think you are just experiencing selective exposure.
No, I'm telling you that I read the text. It's not a selective exposure, but what I will say is that the way that those religions are practiced and people have taken them and people have grappled with them and what people have extracted from them and began to practice is very different than what's written in the text itself.
Those are fringe or extremist groups that the entire community should not be defined or labeled by.
Okay, I agree.
That's not what you said. You were demonizing the entire Christianity.
No, I was not demonizing Christianity. I was saying what was in the Bible.
You were saying that Christian men were weaponizing Adam and Eve's story.
Yes, and that is true. But I'm not saying that Christianity as
But not all Christian men weaponize it.
Okay, yes. But I was citing as an example. I was
not
saying
all Christian men interpret it that way.
I agree. I never said all men. I said specifically that a lot of times religion is pointed to as this is why women deserve to be oppressed. So I was citing that. And the same thing can be said for Islam. A lot of men use the Quran as a way to oppress women. Any religion can be used to oppress women. And so what I was saying was from the beginning of time, women have been oppressed due to men's iteration of certain religions.
Well, this toxic or this oppressive behavior that you're observing is an individual, not a community.
Yes, I'm saying that religion can be weaponized. That has nothing to do with the entire religion as a whole. I'm saying people can take religion regardless of what the religion is and weaponize it.
There will be extremist groups of any and every group that exists, but you should not label or define a community
I never
by
labeled
them.
anything as that. I just
You said Christianity is oppressive.
You weaponize
I said men can take Christianity and weaponize it.
I think that's an overgeneralization.
Saying that men can weaponize Christianity is an overgeneralization.
Yes.
That's
They
just
can. They can. They can weaponize it.
They can and they have.
Yeah.
It's possible, but that is an overgeneralization. I don't think you know what that means.
She never said the majority of men.
Hold on. Well, let some chats come through and then.
Jacob Joseph donated $200. Chair 1, you cited to the United Nations, the same United Nations that put Iran on the Human Rights Council. Can you please tell me about Iran's record on women's rights?
so yeah, sure, friend Joseph.
A message from the government of Canada.
Hold on. Well,
Pasty George donated $200.04. So, according to Chair 1, men such as myself who refuse to enter into a relationship with a Western woman, or any woman influenced in any way by feminism, are bad and more likely to unalive women. LOL.
sorry for the delay on
Yeah.
these guys.
Champagne pop.
Sorry, 2 came in there. Do you want to address Jacob first and then Pasty?
Sure. What I'm going to say to Jacob, right, is if you want to look at Iran, right, and you want to look at what happened, okay, you can blame the United States and you can blame the West for that, for staging a coup. The CIA was involved, look it up, and putting Iran back into an oppressive regime.
And your response to Pasty George?
He said, that men who reject feminism want to unalive women.
Anybody, really quick before you respond, anybody want champagne?
I'm okay.
Champagne?
No, thank you.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Happen to have cider?
No.
No.
So champagne? Yes, please. Okay. Sorry, go
But
ahead.
so I don't think, I think, yes, they have tendencies to be more dangerous towards women if you believe that you don't want to engage with any women that have anything to do with feminism. That's a bit concerning. And I think that men who believe that would be more violent towards
Pass it
women.
down. Well, too late now.
Well said.
Thanks.
You want to?
I'm okay. I'll take it.
Celine, I know you wanted to jump in on something there.
Yes.
I don't know if you still have that. But.
I'm not entirely educated on the actual texts in the Quran, and I've read the Bible as a kid, but not in recent times. So I'm not going to sit here and act like an expert. But from my knowledge, the literal, if we're talking about just the text here, not the connotations, not the implications, not the people behind the text, if we're talking about the text, I would argue that Islam is arguably more oppressive than Christianity, just text-wise. I would say that Christian people that I have had experience with have been a little bit more oppressive, but that's honestly because I've met more Christian people than I have met Muslims. But again, from my knowledge of the text, it's
Sure.
much more oppressive.
We're going to move off religion here, but really quick, we'll do a cheers. We'll do cheers to Pasty George. He did champagne pop. To peace in the Middle East, I guess.
Peace in the Middle East.
Since we're on the topic, Salu.
Peace, everyone.
Thank you, Pasty George.
It's very nice.
Oh, straight from the bottle.
Okay, we'll finish off on the back and forth, and we'll get it back to the dating stuff, I guess. Okay, so the UN, look, I guess my position is just, you cited to the UN, I guess they did a study that these red pill men are a
Yes,
threat or whatever.
correct.
I don't think the UN is a particularly reputable source. So, but I mean, I don't know if you had more on that or.
More in red pill?
Yeah, I mean, you were just, I asked your relationship status, and then you started talking about red pill and all this stuff.
No, I just said that that's when I encountered a red pill man who hated women, and it really opened my eyes up to the dangers that red pill
How did your
is.
ex-boyfriend hate women? Like, what did he demonstrate to you that made you believe that?
Okay, so it was a situationship. Didn't get that far.